Well, we've published a series called the Spy Files that documented these conferences, private government conferences, where the different mass surveillance vendors and targeted hacking vendors like Gamma Group present their wares. And actually, there's quite a lot to be gleaned from that. And whenever you're talking about a big, well, a sizable industrial sector, it's impossible to really hide its shadows now. You always see the shadow. You don't always see the thing, but you can see, you know, a little shadow of a foot sticking out somewhere. And through that, you can map out some of the contours. That is an indirect enough process and a conflict-free enough process that it is kind of hard to get the public really involved in it. We had done all that, for example, before the Edward Snowden publications. And the conflict in the Edward Snowden publications is what really drew people in, because it's not simply that WikiLeaks was saying it was important or Glenn Greenwald was saying it was important. It's that the President of the United States was saying it was important. Look, this is an outrageous situation. And so people went, oh, so power is concerned about this, therefore it in itself must be powerful. Yeah, I think it impinges on a deeper question, which is the world is complex. How much of it do you need to know directly, and how much of it can you delegate? Now, I love the idea of intelligence agencies. I'm a fan of the idea of intelligence agencies because it has the word intelligence in it. And I like that people know things. And maybe they might make sensible decisions if they know things. Intelligence agencies, when they're acting their best, reduce fear and reduce paranoia. Because if there's something that you don't know, hype merchants can fill this black box with the most terrifying possibility of what might be in there. But if you really do know another state's weapon systems and capacities, etc., it might reassure you that actually they're not as bad as the most catastrophic scenario. And so they can actually contribute towards peace in that way. The problem is, it's a principal-agent dilemma. So this is a classical problem when dealing, say, with lawyers, which is you hire a lawyer to work for you and represent you and act in your interest. But of course, the lawyer is also always trying to act in their own interest and inject their own interest into your equation. So how do you police that? How do you police it with lawyers? Well, you police it by constantly looking at their work and trying to do random samples, I guess, introspecting into their work to see if the claims made are justified. That is the fundamental problem with intelligence agencies, and it's the fundamental problem with delegation of assessment about how the world is working. You can't completely delegate. You can't delegate because human beings inevitably are corrupt and cut corners and act in their own interests and not of the person who has appointed them. And in that case, for example, in the UK intelligence services, which have a role, an important role, every state needs something like an intelligence service to protect it from interference by other states. But without insight, deep insight into how those organizations are acting, they go astray. So intelligence agencies must be transparent. It's vital that they are transparent. And some of that, and because they are deeply interconnected with industry, some of that transparency is provided by enforcing transparency on the industry itself, including at these conferences.